Getting married in Vegas was the best decision of my life. From the moment I saw my husband that day, it was just perfect. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. But don't forget that everything is in USD. So it does add up pretty quick, but still way cheaper than a traditional wedding. Not to mention, we only started planning this wedding 2 months before it actually happened. So this is definitely something you can do super last minute. So we're going over everything you need to know about getting married in Las Vegas as a Canadian. And you'd be surprised, but it is pretty easy. First, let's talk about the marriage license. Honestly, I thought that this was gonna be confusing and I was gonna have to do so many things to ensure that it's valid in Canada, but it's so freaking easy. The first thing you have to do is pre-register online on the Clark County website. It takes all of like 5 to 10 minutes. You have to put in some personal information about your family, and then you just submit it. But basically, registering online just speeds up the process for when you go in person in Vegas to actually pick up your license. And you can pre-register at any time. Like, you can pre-register right before you go. You can pre-register weeks before, like I did. Like, it literally doesn't matter. And then next is actually going to get the license. The office is only like 15 to 20 minutes from the Strip. It's the Clark County Marriage License Bureau. So literally everybody that is there is getting a marriage license. So honestly, it's like so fun. You see some people who are dressed up to get married. Like, it's just like such a good vibe. The whole thing took maybe 10 minutes. You go in, we didn't even have to wait in line. Like, we just went straight to a person. We gave our IDs, we signed a paper, we put our hands up and said an oath. And then we paid, I think it was like, yeah, $100. I think it's like 102 or 104. And then they gave us our license and we were pretty much good to go. Something that I thought that was super random is that you cannot fold your license. If there is like a crease, apparently they won't accept it. So they give it to you in an envelope. So keep it in that envelope. I don't know, just don't fold it. And then depending on what venue you choose, some venues you can actually just pay a fee to have them ship your license to Canada, which makes it so much easier because there is literally nothing left for you to do. After getting married, they just take your license away and they're basically gonna make it valid for you. Next is choosing your wedding venue. I went with Little White Wedding Chapel. I feel like it's that one that everybody thinks of when they think of Vegas. Like, it's the one where all the famous people get married. Like, I swear, Britney went there, J-Lo. There's so many other people, but I can't remember any of them. And it's fairly cheap. I paid like $250 for my ceremony, and you can have up to 10 guests with that. And I had exactly 10 guests. But if you have more than 10 guests, you have to pay an additional $100 for each additional 10 guests. So keep that in mind. And the thing that I liked about this chapel is that you have multiple options about where you want to get married. I got married in front of a pink Cadillac, and it was perfect. But you can also get married in the chapel inside. They also have an outdoor chapel. You can also just get married in the Tunnel of Love, I think. I don't know, but you got options. You can even add Elvis. I think it was for like $200, something crazy, but you can add Elvis. And the thing that I liked about this venue is that it was like all inclusive. Like, they made it super simple. Like, if you wanted them to provide a bouquet for you, you just pay whatever the fee is and they give you a bouquet. So I didn't want to go get flowers on my wedding day, so I just took their bouquet and it was like 6 red roses. It was perfect for me. And apparently they also offer photo, video, hair, makeup, gown, and tux services. Like, holy Jesus, you can get everything done at this venue. Not to mention, when you get there, you can also buy like sunglasses. Like, I had to pick up white heart sunglasses because my boyfriend forgot his. I also got this cute little sash. Like, there are just like cute things you can add to make the day even more special or make your photos look real cute. It's so funny though, because after all of that money, the ceremony is only like 15 minutes. You book a 30-minute slot, and then the remainder of the time that you have, you can use for like photos or whatever. And then you have to arrive 30 minutes early to give them the license and basically just prepare everything. And don't forget, you have to tip the minister. So there's no choice. They give you an envelope and you gotta put either $40 to $60 in there. I remember after we got married, the minister like hands it to my boyfriend and he's like, "What's this envelope? What do I do?" And he's like looking inside of it. I'm like, "Bro, you gotta tip him. They told us this. Put the money in the envelope." One thing I will say about this venue is that it is on a super busy street. And it was raining when we got married, which just made it even louder. So there was a point when we were getting married and the minister's talking and then my boyfriend's trying to say his vows and like cars are honking. It is loud. Like, you gotta project that voice.
Vows seriously live by the life.
But honestly, for me, I feel like that added to the Vegas charm. Like, I wasn't fazed. I honestly thought it was hilarious. But not everyone will feel that way. So keep that in mind. So that's just where I got married, but honestly, there are so many different options. Like there are so many other chapels that are really similar to the Little White Wedding Chapel, similar price range. If you want to go crazy, there are even hotels on the Strip, like the Aria, and I think Caesars, and a few others that even do like little elopement services. But those ones, when I was looking into them, they were like thousands. So whereas I just paid a few hundred for things like that, if you want to be a little more extravagant, you definitely are going to be paying for it. But if you can, like, go for it, you know? Make your wedding exactly how you want it. Now onto wedding makeup. This was something that really stressed me out because you're flying to a city, you can't have a trial unless you specifically want to fly there for the makeup trial, so you have no idea how it's going to go. So I feel like the best thing you can do is just do a lot of research. Maybe talk to the makeup artist. I don't know, like do your best to do research for what you're looking for. Because if you follow me on TikTok, you know that I didn't have the best makeup experience. So I don't really got any referrals for you. And now the wedding photographer. This for me was, I swear to God, even more important than the makeup, because the photographer is the one that is capturing your day for the rest of your lives. Like you are gonna be looking back at these photos and you want to love them. You know, you want them to embody how you felt that day, all of the emotion. So I really struggled with this. I was looking for days, and especially when it's last minute, really, really good photographers aren't always available. So I just found everybody that was left was either too expensive because all the prices are in USD, or just not what I was looking for, like not the style I wanted. So it actually ended up being cheaper for me to just fly out a photographer and have them do my wedding as opposed to choosing somebody in Vegas. So just know that that's an option, because I didn't even think about that. I thought that was gonna be insanely expensive, but when I actually started looking at photographer prices, it was cheaper. And honestly, I'm just so happy we went with this photographer because I knew I could trust him. I already knew I loved his work. He just felt like one of our friends. We felt so comfortable, and it didn't feel like we were just like awkwardly sitting there posing for photos. Like it was fun. And I haven't even seen our finished photos yet. We've only seen like sneak peeks, and they already look so freaking good. Like I am so excited to see our actual photos. Oh my God. Onto wedding hair. This is where I got lucky, honestly. Like I didn't have to find somebody in Vegas. My photographer was actually dating my hairdresser in Toronto, which is where I'm from. And so she was gonna just fly out with him anyways. So she was free to do my hair. Like it just worked out so perfectly. I didn't have to stress. Not to mention she was like with us the whole day. So anytime we were taking photos, if she saw my hair wasn't sitting properly, like she was right there. She was fixing it, and it was just so perfect. They're like a Vegas elopement power couple. Now let's talk about wedding clothes and wedding accessories. This is honestly where I went a little crazy, I will say. Because I wasn't doing a traditional wedding, I knew I was saving so much money. So I was like, okay, so I can splurge for the things that I want. Oh my God. That was the first step into spending way too much money. I ended up getting my dream dress, which was the Clio Peppiatt. Some of you may have seen her. She is a stunner, and she was perfect. Like I wouldn't have changed it. My boyfriend also opted for a tailored suit because regular suits don't tend to fit him really well because he has more of an athletic build. So he went to this place called State and Liberty, and it was so perfect for him. It fit so well, and it had this little like pattern. Like it threw me off. I was not expecting it, but I loved it. Like it was so perfect. And then he wore white sneakers with his, so it kind of like dressed it down a bit since I was wearing like a cute little mini dress. And then I ended up going for the cutest heels from Anthropologie. They were like platform heels with a thick chunky heel, so they were comfortable. It was this brand Badgley Mischka, and they were perfect. They had pearl around the ankle, like it just fits so well. My veil was from Blue Ivory in Toronto, and it was actually so cheap. I think I paid like 150 bucks for it. I think I got it on sale. Like it was just perfect. My earrings and necklace were from Olive and Piper. They're a woman-run business. Not to mention they're affordable. Like I think I paid $50, like $40 and $50, so less than $100 for the earrings and necklace. My purse was from Amazon, and I had completely forgot about a purse until like a couple days before. It came so fast. It was perfect, so cute, tiny. It fit my phone and like a couple other things like my lipstick, some hair thing. Like it was, I feel like, the perfect size. And then otherwise I did want white sunglasses so that we could take photos with them. So I did get white sunglasses from the Bay. It was like their cheap section. They were like $25. Perfect, except my boyfriend had to wear them because the ones that he got from Amazon, he forgot in the hotel room. So I had to wear like the heart ones that I ended up buying from the venue. Thank God they had them. And then I think somebody else bought me the sash from the venue, so I have some cute little photos in that. And otherwise, I found Hello Molly and 12th Tribe had some really good like wedding bachelorette options. But again, it's so frustrating because none of those are Canadian sites. Like all of the Canadian sites I found, I just personally didn't love things, but there are things you can find in Canada. It just depends whether it matches your vibe. It wasn't mine. I wasn't loving it. Now onto the wedding dinner. This was so hard for me to find a place that wasn't insanely expensive. Like some places were like, oh yeah, for a party that size, because I think it was 12 of us. For a party that size, minimum $8,000 spend. What? $8,000 for dinner? No, not happening. So I tried Catch, Delilah, Komodo, Mott 32. I think there was somewhere else I even tried, but all of them were over like $3,000 at least just for the dinner. So we ended up going with Fuhu, Fuhu. Oh, so good. So delicious. Not to mention the best customer service. Like from the first email, they were so nice, so helpful, so friendly, and just so much more affordable. You have, I think it was 3 different options, and I ended up going with the cheapest option, which was $85 per person, and then you can just add on drinks as you want them. And the food was also served family style, which I've never had before, so they just bring out like big platters of food. Like it was so much food. I didn't think it was gonna be enough. It was enough. They're also super accommodating for nut allergies. I had someone in my party who had a severe nut allergy, and they ensured that there were no nuts in anything he ate, which honestly was super helpful because not everywhere was able to accommodate an allergy. And lastly, they let us cut our cake there. They even did this whole thing. They brought out lights, they held the cake. Like it was honestly sick. Like I would 100% recommend this place. Oh my God, and wedding cakes. I did not realize how expensive like a little wedding cake in Vegas would be. I didn't even get a real wedding cake. I just wanted a white heart cake, but the cheapest I could find anywhere was $150. And this is for a cake that serves like 8 people. This isn't for a massive heart cake. You know, I'm like, oh my God. And then you have to factor in taxes, delivery, tip for the delivery person, and then converting it to Canadian. Like this is gonna be $250. But then finally, my friend showed me Freed's. Oh, thank God, because their cakes were only like $90, but it was so good. Like this cake was delicious. We went for red velvet. Oh, it was so like soft, light, just so freaking good. I also customized it and put little cherries on it, and I think that was like $5 extra. And then I also paid for them to deliver it, so they delivered it right to my hotel. And even with all of that, it was still only $130, which was still way cheaper than anywhere else I could find. Onto wedding transportation. I completely forgot about this. I wasn't even thinking about it until my parents asked me like, oh, how are you getting to the wedding? I was like, oh, yeah, we're definitely not walking. So thankfully my parents had rented a car, so they took us. And then some of my friends just Ubered. That's always an option. But if you want to go all out, you can get a limo, you can get a car service, you can get a party bus. Like there are so many fun options. Just make sure you don't forget how you're getting there, because you don't want to be late. Otherwise, they don't let you get married. They just skip you. So make sure you're not late. Now onto wedding rings. These you kind of do have to plan ahead, like if you're not just gonna buy one straight from a store that's ready in your size, because we went to People's. We actually went to a few different places, and we couldn't go with them because they just wouldn't come in time, because we only did this, I think it was like 5 weeks before our ceremony. And so luckily People's was able to get it sized in time. And I think we got it on like a 30% off sale too, so they were super cheap, which was great. And then thankfully we remembered to bring them with us to Vegas. I literally made a list of everything to bring because I was so scared I was gonna forget something important. The wedding vows are so funny. Each particular venue may have rules on how you're allowed to do your vows, so it definitely is a little unorthodox. Our rules at Little White Wedding Chapel were that they could either be 5 lines or a maximum of 1 minute. So I was sitting there stressing about how long my vows could be. Baby. But luckily we were able to make it happen. I wrote my 5 lines with lots of commas, and honestly, they were perfect. Like, they were still so good. All right, we're almost done. Now on to hotels and flights. This stuff is pretty much up to you. We ended up staying at Caesar's Palace and I loved it. Like, we upgraded when we got there and we went to like one of their new towers for like $50 a night. We got this nice sectional. Like, personally, I loved it. It was great. One of our friends went to the Flamingo because it was cheaper and they had a great time there. One of our other friends stayed at the Cosmopolitan, freaking gorgeous, gorgeous. Would have loved to stay there, but out of our price range. I think another one of our friends stayed at Planet Hollywood. Like, there are so many good options. Just make sure you don't get bed bugs. That was the one thing we were worried about. As for flying, make sure you bring all your important wedding stuff in your carry-on. Your dress, your shoes, your veil, your jewelry, your purse, like everything you were gonna use on that wedding day, you bring in your carry-on. Check with your airline, but with Delta, we are able to actually bring a tux. Some make you like shove it in your carry-on, but some actually allow you to bring it separately so you don't like wrinkle it and all that stuff. Okay, on to the last topic, wedding memorabilia. This is so random. Like, right before my wedding, somebody reached out to me about doing a collab, and it ended up being for a wedding poster, which I had never heard of. And after looking into it, I was like, oh my God, what a sick idea. So I was like messaging her back and forth, sending her what we were wearing, like saying things I wanted. And oh my God, it turned out so good. Like, this isn't even an ad at this point. Like, I just honestly love my wedding poster. I just feel like it is such a fun way to commemorate your wedding day. And that's about it. Honestly, there are so many different ways you can get married in Vegas, but this is pretty much just how I did it. And I honestly had the most magical day of my life. Like, I am so happy I went with Vegas. It was so much less stressful than a traditional wedding, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one. Love you.